Look, this is a really exciting potential program for us. It's not a large investment, so the committee basically supported the staff recommendations and asked that Councillor Pauline-Cotter be the senior sponsor, in effect the champion for this initiative.
Yep. Turner. Any debate, Yanni?
A question. The financial implications, we've just got $60,000 and we're also funding it through Cafe, which I think gets council funding. So I'm just trying to understand what's not going to happen as part of this work and how are the budgets able to find that amount of money?
Cafe doesn't actually get any funding. It received funding through carbon credits, which set up its original $1.8 million fund, so that's just gradually diminishing. It's not actually being funded annually. And the 60,000 is I think we had a briefing, it's seed money from all the partners. Yep. And just to get it going.
Normally, if we wanted to do something, we'd go through a draft annual plan budget process and we'd weigh out what the priorities are. Just to have $60,000 put in at this time just kind of concerns me.
I think it's
is this
already
money
in the
that was
budget.
already tagged, or is this new money that's taking off something else?
It's been known about for some time, so I think it may already be in the budget. Am I right, Peter? Do you know every $60,000 in the budget yet? God, you've been here 3 weeks. Right, okay, so it is in the budget. Thanks, Terry. Okay, can I put this? Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carried. Second item, just a little item. Councillor Chen moves. I'll second. Okay, any further debate, or do you feel like you've debated it for quite long enough? Jimmy.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think I'm very happy the staff, to speed up the progress, the report back to the Environment Committee as well as today's the formal council meeting, because they have 2,800, this kind of people take the bus in the Rickland area. And also I remember the last time the staff only the one option, but today we can see that they have a sixth option, even the three, give us opportunity to choose this favorite option. But I'm a little bit, disappointed. I'm not support the staff recommendation, but I'm happy to support the Environment Committee the recommendation, because while if we review staff recommendation, the option 1, the middle block, if we recall the last time, the 119 Rickton Road, the so-called passenger, the waiting lounge, that's in this section. But this section creates a lot of the concerns. For instance, like parking issue, pedestrian crossing issue, traffic congestion issue, as well as the misbehavior issue. But the option 2 is actually, even last time, we can see accepted by most majority of the group and the individually. So option 2 actually is in the entrance of the Westfield Mall. So we can extension the bus stop and also to improve the bus shelter in this area. But that's a short term. Long term, we consider whether investigate based on the concept design. Investigate whether the passengers the lounge in this area and also the kind of Wi-Fi, good environment, etc. So I think that's very important. Another one is because this bus stop, public transport hub, is aligned in conjunction with the bus, the Rickton Road bus priority. So also regarding to this concept design, we request the staff, have further investigation, this one, and also the pedestrian safety, the lounge. So I urge all the councillors and the chair can fully support this, the Environment Committee recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, I'll put that. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carried. Item 3, water supply rezoning. Is that a... Yep. Recommendation there at the bottom of page 197. Any debate? Not. I'll put it second by... Do you want to speak? Yeah, you can, Glenn.
Okay, thank you. Just wish to speak to this in relation to the Rāwhiti zone, which you'll see is intended to be first with regard to looking at the lowering of the pressure. David and I are united on this, and you'll hear, I presume, David, probably speak on this. For this community and this part of the community, there are a number of substantial roadworks that have been going on for a long time, centred mainly around the kind of the central part of that area, Keys Road itself. But Rāwhiti covers a good chunk of the ward, and our response to this is that we not begin, please, with this particular zone. It would be yet another layering for the community to absorb. And if you're going to begin, it's not just another case of NIMBY, it's actually another layering for this ward to absorb in terms of, well, an experiment, I guess. The fact is, I would be concerned as to the impact on the ward's well-being if we did begin here, and I would prefer that that we actually did begin somewhere else.
And then East, and then Cotter.
I support 6.4 with regards, but in the meeting, when we discussed this, it was outlined in 4.4. At this pressure, there are approximately 40 sprinkler systems in the central city zone that may require some modifications to continue to meet requirements. Now, I support the recommendation because we obviously need to know who can and what can function with this change in pressure. However, I'm also conscious that Clause 12 of the Water Supply Service By-Law 2008 states, no allowance or compensation will be made or allowed on account of a change of pressure in supply. So I just want to make sure that we are stating that we are absolutely not liable for any cost. All we're doing is assisting in the investigation of if these systems are going to run. So I just wanted to clarify that, because I don't want to take on responsibility where it's not, or expectation where it's not. So, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I think this report actually deals with two issues, really. One is the issue of a higher requirement of water pressure in the central city for sprinkler systems, and two, an equalisation of water pressures across the city. Like my colleague, Councillor Livingston, I'm a little bit concerned that we are targeting the Rāwhiti zone as being the trial for a lowering of pressures. The eastern suburbs has always enjoyed a very good water pressure, and I support the need to sort of isolate each catchment so that we're not relying on a total water supply system across the city. However, I do note that we are proposing to get a water pressure of 55 metres in the city, and it would be less everywhere else. So I'm not at all keen on the Rāwhiti being the trial, and as Councillor Livingston has said, this area has undergone quite a bit of drama in the last 3 years, and to be reducing water pressures in the area is not something that I'm keen on, although Mark Christensen assures me that I wouldn't notice any change in the water supply, water pressure. However, if I have to run around in the shower to get wet, I'll be on this case pretty quickly. So I'm not at all in favour of. I support the notion for looking at the central city water pressures requirements, but I'm not at all in favour of reducing the water pressures in the eastern suburbs.
Councillor Cotter, come first.
Pretty much most have been said. We did come to agreement on this because we were assured that the reason for this is actually to, in the long term, conserve water throughout the city, which I think is a good thing. Secondly, that we're equalising the pressure across the city. So this pressure of 55, whatever it is, already exists in most of the suburbs, or out west anyway. So we were assured that it won't be a piddly pressure, and even David East will be able to wash his hair in it. So that is why we came to this decision. So if we can perhaps get doubly assured by Terry on that, because I also wouldn't like to have piddly pressure. Thank you.
Okay. What you've got to refer back to is actually this is a fundamental platform for water supply for Christchurch, and it was outlined in our water supply strategy that was signed off about 2 or 3 years ago. As Councillor Cotter said, primarily it's to do with conserving water, using water wisely, but also it enables us to recover from events that we experienced a few years ago, because we lost the entire water supply system for a couple of days, and we had to recharge and pressurise the whole of the system. That took an enormous amount of work. It would be far easier if we already had it set up into smaller zones, which is partly what we want to do here. It also means that the assets that we have in underground are actually going to be working less hard, because actually they'll be working at a slightly less pressure, and there's a direct correlation between the pressure in the system and the number of breaks and things that you get on the system. So picking up Councillor Livingston's issue, actually by lowering the pressure a tiny bit will actually hopefully save us digging up some streets looking for water leaks. So actually you hopefully get less work going on in the zone, not more. So in actual fact it's doing a lot of things for the benefit. The other thing that you've got to bear in mind is for every metre of pressure we put in the system, we'll have to use pumps, electricity to generate that, which costs money. So if we can lower the pressure, we reduce our costs in terms of overall electricity costs. So it is a fundamental stepping stone for us in terms of water supply and future water supplies. It will be fine. I've assured him he won't notice the difference.
Thank you. Is there any further debate? You've already spoken. You knew I know that rule. Okay, I'll put this. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. Do you want that recorded? Glenn and David? No one else? Opposed. Okay, I declare it carried. Item 4, Council Building Infrastructure Improvement Allowance. Moved Councillor Scandrett, seconded Councillor Goff. Yanni.
Yeah, thank you. In regards to the Central City tactile pavers, given that we've still got a huge amount of demolition and construction to happen in the Central City, I don't understand why we'd be doing this now. I see a number of footpaths that have been damaged by all sorts of stuff happening, and I just question whether this is the right time to be doing it, and how resilient they are to all the construction effects that will likely take place, or demolition effects.
I'll try to anyway. I think we'd be very selective in where we put these facilities. We'd endeavour to put them where we believe there is very little construction work likely to continue or to happen. So we'll just be selective in terms of where they're located. But it would be really useful to put them in right from the start where it's possible to do so, to allow disabled and nearsighted people to be able to get around the city.
Going in places that won't be redug.
We will double check with that with Scott.
Okay, thanks. Pauline, did you have?
Just a comment on Yanni's, on the top of page 199, it says where footpath earthquake repairs are required in the Central City. This is an opportunity to put these in. So this is exactly what you've been wanting, Yanni, that we don't double up, we don't repair the road, then go back and dig it up and put these down. So that's what we were led to believe at the committee, that this is a beneficial and cost-saving thing to put them in now.
So we know Skirt are doing the repairs ahead of the Central City Accessible Transport Plan. So actually we will be coming back and digging up Salisbury Street's one that's been raised with me around, we've got no time frame for doing the work in Salisbury Street, but Skirt are doing the repair now, but it's not what we've got in our Central City Transport chapter. So it just seems like, you know, there's sort of like two different stages of repair and rebuild in the Central City. There's the Skirt repair, which is going back like for like what we had on September 4th. And then there's the new modern transport plan that the Minister has announced that's got roads being configured in different ways, having different functions, different purposes.
And we are working with the Accessible City people in Sarah to make sure that we dovetail those works. So again, we wouldn't put this type of finish in if we knew there was further work to be done.
Right, thank you.
The motion. Those in favour, please say aye. Those opposed, carried. Major Cycleway Programme route name recommendations. What's the actual recommendation? Phil. Okay. Councillor Chen seconds. Pauline.
I had it, and I was querying the wording for the Shag Rock one. But I see, Phil, we've taken that out completely, have we?
My recollection is that it's accurate as what the committee recommended, that it was to be
Oh, yeah.
the Maori name Papa Nui will be
Rapa Nui
part
Shag,
of that.
yeah, just because there is no Shag Rock. And, but anyway, the committee deemed it fine to leave that in there, so that I just thought I'd flag that.
The only question I had was on the Southern Lights Route 11. When you look at the staff discussion around that, it seemed to raise concerns, but then it's still, I'd say it's been recommended. So be interested to know why you were thinking 4.8.2, Route 11. The panel feels the Beckenham to City Cycleway, which piled second, is worthy of consideration because it makes clear the function. It avoids referencing south, which could cause confusion, as there are several other MCRs also head south, Little River and Hallswell.
My recollection was a name that people preferred, and it was fairly simple.
I have to say I have real concern at having one called Southern Lights and one called Southern Line. Seems kind of quite similar and to be honest. So I don't know, can we move amendments?
Well, Templeton's
Would
in the
the
west, not the south.
committee be keen? Route 11 be renamed the Beckenham to City Cycleway.
That's a long road sign.
Madam Chair, if the councils are the will to, you know, perhaps change one of the names, then I wonder if maybe the fairest way would just be go for the second one on, you know, the number 2, the public second pick.
I think that referring to the second option would keep to the process, which actually the council staff have followed through, and the residents have commented on and had their votes on. I do not believe we should change it entirely now, but I think adopting the second option is certainly a way forward, just to decide on a name.
Rickerton. So we've got, where is it? Yeah, Southern Line, but it's going Breckerton, Hornby, that's west, isn't it? Last time I checked. No, that's south. Is it? Okay. South. So Beckenham's not south? Which way's south? Is it? Beckenham's
Just a
east, is it?
suggestion if we're
I thought it was
thrashing this
south.
out, because I quite like the
Could have used
Southern
a
Lights.
compass, I think.
What about if we change the other one, the Route 8, to South Express instead of, and then keep the Route 11 the same?
They're in different directions.
No, well, that's actually not a bad suggestion, because I do understand, and I don't want to undermine the process, because of course it's great the public have had ownership in this, but I guess it coming to council, the point of that is so we can look at it as a whole and put it into context. A valid point's been raised that there are two that actually sound quite similar, and that would have been done in complete isolation to looking at the wider picture. The South Express just sounds really good. It was the second one there.
South.
Southern Lights, that's really
That's
great,
west.
so I think you've got to keep that one. But South Express was the second most votes.
Okay, fine.
So I
That's west.
I totally agree. Southern Lights is great.
Yeah, let's
Sorry.
just
Okay, enough, guys. Okay. Are you happy with Pauline's suggestion that we change the other one so that we can end up with one amendment, or are you wanting to go?
Yep. Happy to
Okay.
change the other one, because, I mean, Route 8
Okay.
doesn't really go to the south anyway, and, you know, but it kind of like the northern cycleway, southern cycleway, I don't know, you might
Okay.
call it something
So
different.
Councillor
Western.
Potter's moving and Councillor Livingston seconding the whatever it was that you
Route
moved
8 be changed to South Express, and that's all really, isn't it?
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Yep, okay, you okay with that, Phil? Okay, thank you, I'll put it with that amendment, I'll put that amendment first, sorry. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I'll put the whole motion, those in favour, please say aye. Those opposed, carried. That's the end of that. Okay, the report of the Finance Committee.